Hello, my name is Laura and I make questionable decisions. First things first, I found my AirPods. And you might be asking yourself, why do I care? And to that I would say, you don't. But what's wild is they were in my bag. So I understand their last known location being in Target made sense because that was the last place I opened the case. So that part tracked because I didn't open them at home. So that was their last known location. I understand that. What I don't understand is my bag is tiny. There was nowhere for those AirPods to hide. I am now convinced I have jumped timelines. I don't know what happened. I don't know when it happened, how it happened, but I have jumped timelines because my AirPods were absolutely not in my bag and then I found them in my bag. It is very weird. Happy they're home. Anyway, what we're doing today, or this week, or this vlog, or this whatever, is we're reading a new book. And that's the questionable decision, because I bought The Games Gods Play by Abigail Owen. And you might recall that I said,
and tentatively, I'm excited for The Games Gods Play by Abigail Owen. I'm excited because look how gorgeous this is, but also I'm super hesitant because it's Red Tower. And I feel like that speaks for itself. But like it's a beautiful edition and it's like what is it? It's Hunger Games crossed with something. I forget what the other comp title was. But like everything about it screams this is a book for Laura. And then Stunning Edges. But Laura doesn't trust Red Tower. I've not read a book from Red Tower, but I saw the Iron Flame debacle. And almost every Red Tower book, their second runs are being printed when the beautiful ones are still on the shelves, which is telling me no one wants them. Am I gonna buy this one? Probably, just because like I have to. But it's the only Red Tower that I am buying before reading. Like, unless I love it. But I'm skeptical.
that I don't trust Red Tower, and I don't actually have high expectations for this book. And that is all true. But this is pretty. Like, I don't think it's foiled, but it's shiny, and I like that. I did actually already start it. Shh, don't tell anyone. But like, look how beautiful she is. And we've got end pages. Like, it's gorgeous. I couldn't not buy it. And this is my first ever Red Tower. I didn't read Fourth Wing, which is, I think, their most famous book. And I've seen a lot of their books getting really bad reviews in general. From mostly, I think a lot of it is that they push out books really quickly. Like, it's not that the stories are bad. They're just not marinating enough. They're not getting enough editing. And I don't know. That's what I've been hearing. I've been curious about Fourth Wing, but with the relatively negative reception to Iron Flame, because I feel like there was even diehard fans that were like, Iron Flame needed more time to cook. And I mean, didn't that come out like 6 months after the first book? Like, that's crazy. And I'm not saying, and that's nothing against Rebecca. Like, she very well may have written all of these books or enough of them that she could pump them out that fast. I know we always want books faster, but like, we want quality books. We want you to take your time to make sure it's edited. All that being said, I'm not gonna reread The Dust Jacket right now. Maybe at the end I'll read it and insert a clip. I don't know. But I love not knowing too much about books because too many of the books tell you too much of the plot too early. So what I know is that this is romantasy, Percy Jackson meets Hunger Games, Greek gods, basically all of everything that I love. I mean, I'm like neutral to romantasy, but everything else right up my alley. I love Percy Jackson. I love Hunger Games. I love competition stories. I love Greek gods. I love Hades as a love interest. He is my favorite Greek god. I know in the Percy Jackson universe, I do think Nico has stories, but like, I wanted more Nico because I love Hades. So far, because I've read a couple chapters, I've read 5 chapters, I would say I'm definitely interested. I'm vibing with the writing. I think I will have no problem finishing this book. Despite its length, I think I will finish this fairly quickly. But my first impressions are, it's more for fans of ACOTAR and the Crave series. Like, it's definitely got that type of writing. It's not necessarily good, but it's easy. I'm having a good time. The premise is interesting. I want to know more. I want to keep going. But with ACOTAR and also Crave, although I know Crave is technically fully young adult and not romantasy, as far as I understand the definition of romantasy, I believe that has to be essentially adult because the whole point is the spicy scenes. So I think it'll fall into the same kind of ACOTAR, easy to read, not a lot of substance. Is that fair to say? As someone who enjoys ACOTAR, it's not anything like amazing. Like, it's just fun and it's easy. And I think that's what this will be. That's all I really have to say. We've met our main character, whose name is, I want to say Lila. I don't think that's correct. Lyra. I was close. Okay. So we've met Lyra, and she is essentially an orphan because Zeus cursed her because her parents accidentally went into labor inside of Zeus's temple, which is in San Francisco. The Greek pantheon is in America now. I have not gotten that explanation. I assume it's probably gonna be something like Percy Jackson, of just like America being a new powerhouse. Okay, so I was editing this and I realized I never came back to the reason why the Greek pantheon is in America, and it's because they're not. And by that I mean, like any religion, there are temples, religious buildings for all the Greek gods, just anywhere that people believe in them. There is a temple everywhere. So Lyra's parents went into labor in the San Franciscan temple to Zeus, but that is not the only temple in existence for Zeus. Anyway, what happened is, so she's been cursed so that no one will love her. So her parents were just like, yeet, don't need you anymore. Got rid of her when she was like 3. And so she's been raised by thieves, and I don't really know what the organization does besides thievery, but like that's who she's running with. And she's super pissed at Zeus because she can never fall in love. She's never had a best friend. No one loves her. And that is heartbreakingly sad. And all the more reason we hate Zeus, right? Because like he's just a dick. So she's angry, and it's about to be this once in a century event that I think, which is like, it's what the games are going to be. I think they call them like the Crucibles, or this does tell me. Yes, the Crucible. I think. So the Crucibles are about to start, and she's about to go like wreak havoc on Zeus's temple, and Hades shows up and is like, I wouldn't do that if I were you. That seems like a bad idea. And Lyra's like, you're fully a Greek god. What in the hell are you doing here? And that's pretty much where I've left off. That's all I really know. I'm guessing Lyra is going to be put into the Crucible as chosen by Hades. He apparently doesn't frequently participate in this event, and the events, I don't know, are the gods will pick a human representative, and then they I'm gonna say they battle it out. I'm thinking it's probably more quests, or like a bunch of timed event kind of things, and not literally like a Hunger Games style, literally battle to the death. But the point is, whoever wins gets glory, and whoever dies, their family gets glory. So like, it's like a win-win, except for the people who, die. But that's okay. Who cares, right? They're dead. And anyway, I'm excited. If nothing else, it is a beautiful first edition, and I will not continue to buy first editions from Red Tower if I don't like this one. But, and I mean, I know all authors are not a monolith just because they're with Red Tower, but it's hard not to see a pattern when a pattern is there, So I will update you when I have more information. But I'm assuming Lyra and Hades are gonna hook up, because why else? Right? Again, I haven't reread the inside cover, so maybe that's explicitly stated. I don't know. I lost my AirPods again. This time they're in my house, which is a step up because I think one of these gremlins, I say this, nuggets at my feet. I dropped them and didn't pick them up, and now I think they're just under a surface. Anyway, they're around here. My vacuum's running. I'm full of chaos. What else is new? Well, I am this far. Like I'm approaching the 25% mark. Give or take. I'm at page 140 out of about 500, so math. I could put this in Goodreads. I didn't. I'm having so much fun. And I don't know if it's because I had like negative expectations going into this. Like, this is by far my most well-received review on Goodreads at like, I don't know, it's got like 13 likes. It's not popular, but I was one of the first people who because I put up, like, I didn't give it a star rating. I was just like, oh, I don't trust Red Tower, but like, I'm really kind of curious about this book. And I was one of the first people, I guess. So my review has a lot of traction until popular people read this book. So it's been really interesting. I just was not expecting really to like it, but it's so gorgeous and everything about it was so, for me, I had to pick it up. And I'm so glad that I did. And maybe the low expectations was the move because I'm having fun. I won't, much like ACOTAR, I won't say this is like a good book, but it's a fun book. And so far, I was correct. Hades did pick Lyra as his champion, but plot twist, Hades doesn't normally participate in the Crucible because he's the king of the underworld. And I guess the Crucible is a contest that the gods hold every 100 years to determine which god gets to rule the overworld or Olympus. They definitely told me, it's on me for not remembering that specifically, but basically whoever's contestant wins, their god is in charge for the next 100 years. So it's already like sus that Hades is joining in the first place. He clearly has an ulterior motive for wanting to play and wanting to win. Like, he isn't out to get... Am I bleeding? Lovely. He isn't out to just have, like, King of the Underworld and King of the Overworld / Olympus. Like, I mean, maybe he is, but that's not the vibe I'm getting. I'm very curious about what his motive is. Lyra, obviously, is very disadvantaged by not only being Hades' pick, which puts the target on her back because no one wants Hades to win, but because of her curse, where no one's going to love her, it's not that people hate her, but people just overlook her, which in a contest is not great because you need allies up until the end. So that's been a whole thing. I'm also kind of wondering if we're going to get Wizard of Oz vibes. That's the dumbest way to phrase it. Wizard of Oz has been on my mind because of Wicked. Hades is promising he can remove Lyra's curse, and I'm beginning to think she's not actually cursed at all. Because Boone, who I probably haven't mentioned yet because I've barely talked about this book, Boone is a mortal who is part of like this thief gang that Lyra runs with, and she's been in love with him, but because she's been cursed to have nobody love her, she's never pursued it, she's never wanted anything, like never tried anything. So that was like a whole thing, but then Boone just like snuck into the underworld. That's not true. He snuck into Hades' loft apartment, like wherever he resides. There's a place that mortals can get to. Boone broke into there. They're calling it Hades' apartment. And he broke in to give Lyra some of her like back home relics that she can use in the fight. And I'm getting love triangle vibes. I high-key would not be mad if it got kind of poly with Boone and Hades and Lyra. That'd be kind of fun. I think it's just going to be a love triangle, which I don't love as much. But I'm shocked with how little page time Boone has had that I'm actually quite interested. Like, I think right now either one of them is a really good contender for a love interest. Hades came out the gate hard. Like, he... a child. He's very clearly, I want to say interested, but I can't decide if he's just kind of like overtly sexual, where it's just kind of like, I will sleep with anybody I find attractive, or if he's like specifically interested in Lyra, you know? Either way, I'm here for that budding kind of, it's not enemies to lovers, but like maybe adversaries. Like they have to work together, they have to trust each other, but there's obviously animosity between that. Well, on Lyra's side, Hades is kind of just like doing whatever. But I'm like interested. But Boone is cute. I feel like he could have serious golden retriever energy, and I'm here for that. But we've gone through the first trial, which is Poseidon's trial. Every god gets a trial except for Hades. They all should. Like, every god has the opportunity to, but Hades decided last minute he was going to join the Crucible, so he doesn't get a trial. Which also puts Lyra at a disadvantage, because obviously your patron saint is going to tell you about their trial. So she doesn't even get a trial where she has a heads up. And Poseidon's trial ends with one fatality, and it was gruesome. I didn't think it was going to be, I don't want to say that graphic, because it's not super graphic. Are you going to hit the tripod? You're going to on the way back. It was more graphic than I expected, but it's not crazy graphic. But when you think about it, like if you were in that situation, it would be horrible. And also, ironically, not a death I would have expected from Poseidon. Not that he inflicted the death personally, but very interesting. Anyway, no one is more shook than me for some reason that I'm loving this book. And I recommend it to fans of ACOTAR and Percy Jackson. Not because it has much to do with Percy Jackson other than the Greek gods. But I feel like if you like Greek mythology, you like books about deadly competitions, and you actively enjoy ACOTAR, you would love this. That's my vibe so far. At this point, this vlog might be more about my headphones than the book. Because I found my AirPods. They were under my couch. I kind of suspected. I'm not saying she's the culprit. I'm just not saying she's not the culprit. This is my lovely bedhead. Please enjoy. I'm thinking I'm gonna actually finish the games Gods Play soon. Like, it's 8 o'clock, so I think I'm just gonna kind of hunker down and finish it, because I'm just over halfway. So I wanna be done, like in a good way. Like, I want to sit and binge this because I'm having so much fun. I do think that I haven't read any reviews at all yet, and I do think there's going to be valid negative criticism of this, but I'm having a good time. I am so down for the Lyra Hades romance, like so much. It's like barely happened. It's been hinted at more than it's happened, and I'm obsessed and I love it. But Hades has always been my favorite. Like, well, not obviously, but I'm reading Lore Olympus. I love a good Hades and Persephone story, even though I don't think I mentioned in this one Persephone's died. And now I'm questioning if we know how, because like, how do immortal gods die? That's probably, if I had to guess, that's going to either be the setup for book 2, like, not, okay, so what happened was Hades is entering the Crucible for the first time in ever because Persephone's dead. And we've just recently found out that Persephone and Hades had like a sibling love, not a romantic love. So like, he is deeply saddened by the fact that she died, but he wasn't in love with her, which makes him being very interested in Lyra, like emotionally more okay, because like, it's not like Persephone died and he immediately just like moved on. Although I think she died like 100 years ago. Still have questions about that. And Hades wanting to win and be the king of the gods and not just king of the underworld obviously is putting a lot of issues in the world, but also with the gods. Like, they don't want Hades to be a double king and whatever. But he keeps saying he has these other reasons, and it's like it's not that he is craving the power of being the king of the underworld and the king of the gods, but being king of the gods is going to give him the ability to do something, and we don't know what that something is. And my guess is, however Persephone died, him being king of the gods is going to allow him to exact revenge or correct whatever allowed that to happen. And I think all of that's going to be a setup for book 2, because my guess is Lyra's going to win this competition. He's going to be king of the gods, which is going to cause a bunch of chaos, because the whole point is there was a war with the gods to be king of gods. Like, they were all kind of infighting, and it was causing a lot of problems. So instead, they made a new rule that they can't fight each other because it's too dangerous. And instead, every 100 years, they will do a crucible, and that will decide who is the king. I suppose it would also be a queen if she won, like if any of the women won. They don't really touch on that part. But if you win, you're king of the gods for the next 100 years. So that's kind of what this whole thing is. And it's... So I assume that Lyra will win. Hades will become king of the gods, which will probably cause a second war. And I swear to God, I just went through this with the Crowns of Nyaxia, the first duet, where the first one was about the games and the second one was about a war. And like, the first one is infinitely better because the games were more interesting than the war. So as much as I'm loving this, I will still read book 2, but I don't know that book 2 can have the same interest because I love competition stories. Anyway, I think we've gone through 6 labors. We did, Poseidon was first, Hermes was second. Who was third? Somebody was third. Artemis and Apollo were 4th and 5th, and Aphrodite was 6th. Who was third? Why is their name gone? Like, what trial? We had the underwater, we had the flying cave, the poison. Dionysus was third. And we've lost one contestant. We lost the one in Poseidon's. We almost lost one in Dionysus, but they lived. We almost lost one in Hermes, but they lived. 4 didn't kill anyone. 5 also didn't kill anyone. Someone did die in 6, but not one of the contestants. But they did lose. I don't know if they get to keep competing. I'm not entirely clear about that. But now, Aphrodite's trial was all about, like, the person you love the most is going to be trapped and you have to save them. And Lyra's like, oh, well, nobody loves me. So, which is, like, silly in a way, because, like, she can love someone and they don't have to reciprocate that love for that to be true. But anyway, her person ends up being Boone, who I mentioned earlier is, like, the second half of this love triangle. It's not a love triangle. Not at all. She confesses her love to him because, like, that was part of the trial. And now he gets to be in Olympus until trial 7, and he gets to help her in trial 7, which seems actually quite risky because it seems like there's a higher chance these mortals are gonna die. But Boone is like, I don't feel that way about you, but like, we're besties, and I'm so down to be your friend. And so they're friends. But during this like celebration post trial 6, Hades seems to be flirting with another one of the contestants' people. I think it's Nev's sister. So he's like flirting with her, and Boone clearly can see like what's going on. So he's kind of flirting with Lyra. Like, it's childish and I love it. Hi, baby. Hi. I love you too. But like, meanwhile, Lyra is about to get punished by the demons, and then Hades is like, actually, you're gonna punish me instead. And I'm like, Hades, you're so sweet. Biscuit baby, your nails hurt. You won't let me cut them. We've been over this. Your biscuits hurt. Anyway, so I'm gonna take this raggedy ass mess and I'm gonna go try to finish the book today. And maybe I will not look like I just woke up the next time I check in. And if we're lucky, I won't lose my AirPods again. Quite frankly, no promises though. Okay, we're gonna do this while I play Pokemon with my sister. I don't know how this is gonna go. I'm splitting my attention in multiple ways. And is that a terrible idea? Maybe. But my ADHD is unmedicated and we're doing what we're doing to get by. So I finished the games Gods Play, which we love. You can't tell too terribly much. I tabbed a couple spots and there's a couple quotes I liked. There's a couple scenes I liked. I liked a lot of it, but things I kind of wanted to remember. And I gave it 4 stars, which shocked even me. I went into this kind of expecting to hate it, which is perhaps the weirdest way to enter a book. Well, no, it's not the weirdest way to enter a book. People like to hate read books. That's not crazy. What is crazy is that I went out of my way to buy it on release day and then still went in expecting to hate it. That was a choice. But I had so much fun. Lyra and Hades, I love them. They're precious. I have not read any negative reviews yet, and I think one of the things is going to be that they suck at communicating and it was very insta-lovey, and valid. Honestly, I'm gonna go out on a limb and say probably most of the negative criticism around the book is probably valid. But much like ACOTAR, I just had fun. Like, it was just a good time. It was not necessarily the most well-written, and I think I've said all of this already, but like, it's just fun. If you want to go into a romantasy book and have a good time, and I think the key thing is, with all these comp titles that are floating around, I think you have to actively enjoy the writing style of Sarah J. Maas, probably Rebecca Yarros. I have not read her, but that tracks for me. I think you have to actively enjoy that particular style of romantasy writing, and then I think you would enjoy this. Like, if there was anything about ACOTAR that you were just like, I can't look past this and like can't read it, can't enjoy it, you're not gonna like this either. Like, it is very much appealing to the Fourth Wing girlies, the ACOTAR girlies. Honestly, less so Throne of Glass, just because I feel like that's really more fantasy forward and ACOTAR is romantasy forward. This is definitely romantasy. And like, the relationships were fun, but yeah, I had so much fun with all of the relationships. I thought all the character motivations made sense. I still don't think I understand how Persephone died, but I don't know how she died. And I was right that is essentially the plot of book 2. Kind of, sort of, not really. There are semi-spoilers in this vlog, so like, should I just spoil the ending? Okay, yes. If you don't want spoilers, if you don't want full spoilers, look away. Lyra ends up winning. She dies. Hades makes her queen of the underworld, so she becomes a goddess, so she can come back to life. And then, because she won, Hades is now king of the underworld, or king of the gods. So he's king of the gods, she's queen of the underworld, like we love. And then he uses his power as king of the gods to get Pandora's box, which is the only way to rescue Persephone from Tartarus, because that's where she is. She's not actually dead, she's trapped in Tartarus. They open Pandora's box, and Lyra and Boone, who is now also a god, god of thieves, he took that from Hermes, which I think is hilarious. He took the title from another god, which is so on brand for a thief. And they get stuck in Tartarus now. So now Hades has lost everybody to Tartarus, and that's the setup for book 2. Oh, I'm so here for it. I still say these books that start with a competition and then the second book is like a war is never the move for me. I love the competition side of things and I don't like the war side of things, which is why I didn't love Throne of Glass as much as ACOTAR. But I love the romance of Hades and Lyra. I'd say it's Grumpy Sunshine, but it's not even, it's Grumpy. And Hades being just like so soft on the inside, but like, I know there's a trope name for it, but like, he hates everyone except her kind of thing. I'm obsessed. I love it so much. The spice was the correct amount for me. It's not like, there's like 2 chapters back to back that are very spicy. As someone who doesn't read a lot of romance, it's probably not as spicy as that. I would say it's probably on par with ACOTAR in terms of the spicy scale. Maybe less. There might have actually been more spicy scenes in ACOTAR, like per book. And I would say it is more, I want to say lyrical. Is that the right word I want to use? Versus being extremely explicit. Like it's, you know what's going on, obviously, but it's not written in the kind of erotic pornographic way as some books are. And there's nothing, that's not a judgment. I'm not dismissing that. But that's why I like this more. It's because it was more, I don't want to say it's literary romance. Like, I think that's putting it like too high. It is still on page sex that, you know, talks about it. But I just feel like some of them are like very pornographic in their terminology, in their expressiveness. And I think this was a little bit more literary in that regard. But that doesn't mean I don't have anything else to follow that sentence with. But I enjoyed it. I think the spice level is what I wanted from it. Like, it worked. It didn't take away from the story. And I like that there really wasn't a love triangle. I like that most of the characters lived. We got a handful of deaths, and one of them happened off page, which I don't love when that happens, because, like, even though narratively it made sense why that happened, I feel like we kind of needed to be there. But I also get, this is just over 500 pages, and we have 12 trials to get through. Some of it just had to be condensed because we were telling so many stories outside of the trials as well. So that's probably my only big complaint, is that I would have rather had all 12 trials on page, and we didn't get that. We missed 3, I believe. And again, narratively, the whys made sense, but that doesn't mean I liked it. All that to say, I'm so glad I read it. I'm so glad I liked it. We're hopefully never losing my AirPods again. I'm sure. The best part about this is I've talked about my missing headphones in 2 vlogs. And I think this one's going up first. So then my next vlog. Actually, it's not even next. I don't know when I'm posting. I'm not done with it yet. We're going to talk about my missing headphones again, but I've already found them. I'm going to have to like put date stamps about my missing headphones. Because who even am I? This is really just a vlog about my headphones. I need to just invest in, well, actually, what I need to do is invest in like an actual camera microphone setup, but that costs money. So we're rocking the iPhone with the AirPods. Someday I will have a fancy camera. That day is not today. But all I want to say is this is a 4-star for me. I'm so excited for the second book that has absolutely no information yet. And I also hope it does not come out soon, which sounds counterintuitive. But Red Tower, let the second one cook. Let it be done. I don't need this to be rushed. I want it, but don't rush it. Are you listening? I know you're not. This is so good though. This is so much fun. Okay. So basically, yeah, go read this, and I will see you in another video in the future. Bye.